Hey, everybody. How we doing? Welcome back to Reconnected. I hope everybody is well. Hope the week is treating everybody well. Nice to spend some time back with friends. I'm exhausted. I feel like I barely got here on time. Again, very busy Thursday night with the family. I had my oldest had Cub Scouts tonight and got to go up and transition to the next rank and have ice cream after and all that, and dashed home just to spend time with my closest friends, and that's you. How is everybody? It's nice to see you. I'm glad you're here. I am trying to cool down. I'm noticing that I look like I just woke up because it is hot as hell here all of a sudden. We were talking about that in the Discord this week. It is like miserably hot. I think it got down to like 35-ish last week, and today it got to like 91 here. 91. Ridiculous. Let's check in, see who's here. Maximus, my friend, how are we? Eric, glad you made it. Antoine, hey. Mitchell, Sean, what's going on, my dude? Lissa, Sulako 88, what's going on? Glad you're here. Neil, you made it. Hey. This whole week has been exhausting. Completely agree. Let's see. Just put in my first order for some imprint Blu-ray titles. Nice. Hopefully you got them for a good deal. I know that those can be very expensive. Sardis, what's going on? There's a title that got announced today. I'm going to read the synopsis tonight because it made me immediately think of you. And I don't know if you saw it because it sounds wild. So I'm definitely going to be picking it up. What's going on, Bubba Fett? John, what's going on? Crazy busy. I'm glad you're here tonight. Hopefully it's an off night, and hopefully the team's doing well. I haven't paid attention much this year because the Royals suck this year. Hot here in Central Illinois. You are very close to Flip. Yeah, it is hot here in the Midwest. It is crazy. Movies by E. What's going on? Hey, Jeff. Terry, how are you? How do we say this? JJ Stieg? Woo! Yeah, humidity is super high. Oh, and I can't imagine. Mississippi's probably really bad with that humidity right now. All right. Tonight, we're going to talk about all our announcements like we always do. There were some decent ones this week, but not a ton, which is good, I think. It gives us time to talk about some other stuff. We got some sales coming up. We can discuss those. I kind of want to check in, see how everybody's feeling about my Vinegar Syndrome month that I've been doing on the channel, see what you think. And beyond that, because I don't have a guest tonight, it's a little less awkward. We're going to do the movie games that we did a few weeks ago. I think it's fun. I haven't done them in a while. It's been, in fact, I think since the last time I did them live with you guys. So, yeah, it's been a while, and I like doing them. So hopefully you like doing them too. Also, there was something else I wanted to bring up. Shoot. I will probably remember as we go on. So what do you say? Let's get into some announcements, huh? Let's see. 22:11. Jeez. Well, at least you had an early night, relatively. John, hey. Sardis says, I used to live in Montana. Is that what you're saying? Carmel, Illinois. Is it Carmel? I know there's a few cities with that name, and they all pronounce them differently. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how that one is pronounced. I know when I was in California, there's a city called Carmel, and they are very on it if you say Carmel differently. What's going on, Cam? Glad you're here. All right, jumping into it. First one tonight, we got some Corman reprints, kind of. But the big thing, and actually, let's talk about reprints because we're going to be talking about that a little bit tonight. Maybe I should keep that up just so I can share what I'm talking about. Caged Heat. This came out as a limited edition title by Scream Factory or Shout Factory. Same company, different line, whatever. And it was one of the limited titles. So it was sold out pretty quickly. You can't get this in the US on Blu-ray anymore unless it's secondhand. A lot of people are complaining about the reprints and the stuff coming out again. Like one of the ones we're about to talk about. Because it got announced last Friday. And reprints are odd. One of the things, like, I don't love when things get re-released, 4 and 5 times in the same place. For example, the one that we're about to talk about, just to get the cat out of the bag, is a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie that a lot of people have because it was out from Scream Factory for a very long time, and now it's coming out on 4K. I like that we're getting an upgrade, but something like this is less aggravating for me because it's a completely different region, and I think more people need to pay attention to that. So this came out in the US, and it had a wide release here in the US, but you couldn't get it necessarily if you lived everywhere else. So like this is coming out in the UK. It's not a big deal to me because a lot of people that didn't have access now can get access to this movie. Now, if like Severin released this and they did the exact same thing, that would be less desirable for me, obviously, because there's no reason to reprint this. But it's a Corman title, so that wouldn't even be possible. But that's silly to talk about. Tom V, what's going on? I feel like I haven't seen your name in a while. How you been? Oh, stupid me. Yeah. Oh, the MT was both capitalized. That's why I thought that. But you meant Mount Carmel or Carmel. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Yeah, I don't even know that I've heard that one said out loud. So I don't know if it's Carmel or Carmel. Chester, I do believe that is the Carmel, California, yes. And I went up there one time because my grandma was an interior decorator for a very long time, and she happened to do some rich people's houses, like weird, random rich people, like Southern California. We had a lady that got divorced from her husband and won, I can't remember what it was. It was a certain line of truck stops. She won in the divorce like 8 truck stops and sold them all for like $1 million each. And so she bought this really nice house, and she gave my grandma like, here's $400,000, decorate it however you want, that kind of thing. So yeah, we went up to Carmel to see this lady because they were close friends, and Carmel is very like hoity-toity. I mean, if you're going to Dairy Queen, pick me up some, Maximus. Let's take a look at these. Okay, 101 Films is putting out Caged Heat. This is from 1974. This is like I said, a Roger Corman title. In the US, Shout has the rights to this, and they still put it out as a limited title for who knows what reason. Only Shout. They could just print these forever. So, yeah. This is coming out in a new region, so not that big of a deal. My wife passed a small cough to me on again. I apologize. I will try to mute every time I'm going to. Next one, another Corman title. They're also putting out Crazy Mama. This is another one that Shout put out on a limited Blu-ray. Again, there was no reason for it to be limited, but I'm glad now that other regions can pick this up. And Corman obviously produced a lot of movies, but some of these are surprisingly decent. And I'm just glad that other people will have a chance to get the art. And 101's been doing a pretty good job lately, so I will say that. Although maybe I should hold up on speaking too soon there after what is going on with the Johnny Mnemonic release. Has everybody else heard that? I have not received mine yet because I ordered it with I think I ordered it with some 88 Films titles that have not been released yet from Diabolic, and everything I'm hearing is that the Blu-ray release of Johnny Mnemonic looks worse than the last DVD release, which is a very negative feeling if that is true. Like, there is zero reason why in 2022 any Blu-ray release should look worse than the previous DVD release. And if that is the case for a title like this, and you know, not that Johnny Mnemonic is a classic necessarily, because it's not, but it's a Keanu Reeves title, and he's got a lot of Hollywood pull. That was a weird way to say that. A lot of Hollywood pull, and you would think that they would do a better job with it, just to make sure that they're keeping up appearances. We'll say it that way. But yeah, from what I hear, it is not something that looks great. The packaging looks great, but for me, I certainly want the movie to look good. Okay, so this is one that I totally forgot was this week. I feel like this was like a week and a half ago. Kino has added 40 titles to their While Supplies last sale, which means these are going out of print. Mitchell, yes, we are going to go into that because some other people have started other rumors. So yeah, we're going to talk about that. And John and everybody, don't feel bad about picking up Johnny Mnemonic. The movie's decent, and it's kind of hard to sugarcoat it. Like, if it really does look that bad, I don't want to stand up for it necessarily. And I've not heard if it was going to get a replacement disc. It could just be what they're going with. They could say the print that we were given is all that we could do, so here is Johnny Mnemonic. It looks like crap. Sorry. But I hope that's not the case. I hope that they get enough complaints that it does get addressed. Johnny Mnemonic is a title that a lot of people have wanted for a long time, even though it's, again, not the greatest movie, but it's one that a lot of people, especially around our generations, really held near and dear when they were younger because of the time that it came out and all of that. I'm gonna get back to this real quick. So Kino Lorber, While Supplies Last, is the going out of print sale, basically. So they look at these titles and they say, our license is expiring. We are going to sell off the rest of what we have for the cheapest possible price. And they added 40 more titles to the list. And these are all priced very fairly. So if you do want some of these, I would highly suggest picking them up. I had planned on, kind of speculating that some of these were going to be, well, if you notice on the list, there's a lot of Bava titles. I had kind of been speculating inside my old brain that somebody else is probably picking these up. Maybe Arrow got the rights for the US, and that's what's going to happen. But I've been doing some research, and it sounds like when Arrow lost their rights in the UK, it was because the estate that owns all of the Bava titles wants a huge sum of money to license them again. So I'm not necessarily sure that these are going to get another release. On the other hand, I would hope that some of these would come to 4K. So I'm not entirely sure. I'm not saying, go panic buy all of these. However, if there are some titles on here that you've been wanting for a long time, just for peace of mind, and so that you have a copy of it, I might buy these. And keep in mind, Kino is $50 free shipping, and they ship UPS, so it comes quickly, and it's usually very well packed. So if there's enough that you want here, perhaps take a look at it. I, again, don't take this as gospel that it's not going to come, but everything I'm reading is making it sound like whoever is the license holders for all of the Bava titles, they want a hefty sum. And if that's the case, I don't see them selling well enough for like a 4K box set. The what was the name of the Arrow box set? I think it was a Macabre Visions, that green box set when they were all going out of print and they packaged them all together. I would have loved to have seen that in a 4K box, and inside I was kind of hoping that they were coming, but it sounds like that's not going to be the case, sadly. Sarda says, how cheap are these? These range. Some of the going out of print titles are literally as cheap as like $4.95, but then they range all the way up to, I think on the high end, about $12.95. So some of them, like the Bava titles, I think are hitting around $7.95, which isn't bad. So you can get, say if it's actually $8 a piece, you can get 7 of those and get free shipping. I mean, that's pretty good. That's basically sale prices. John in the chat works at UPS, says you're welcome on that fast delivery. Man. Sorry. I'm starting to cry now. Good thing I've got a cough drop down here. Let's see. Mitchell totally bought that Night Stalker release, and it's glorious. That is a really good one. Anthony says, I don't mind reprints. I personally do not collect for the overall collection. Everybody should be able to get their hands. Completely agree. Completely agree. The only reason I said I don't love the reprints, I would love somebody like Vinegar Syndrome to to continue doing what they used to do, which is invest in things that were lost or on the verge of being lost, or things that were video store staples. But the big thing is they're still doing that. It's kind of a half of one, half dozen of one, six of another. They're able to fund 10 of these releases just by putting out something like Rad and having it sell very well. And when we get a new classic on our hands, it starts things. The community learns about Vinegar Syndrome, Beastmaster, Rad, Spookies, Fade to Black. Those are all titles that brought fans to a company like Vinegar Syndrome that maybe never would have heard of them. And, accounts like mine post things and you guys share them, and everybody appreciates that, and they get more money to invest in more titles. Why am I speaking about Vinegar Syndrome so much when we're looking at a picture of Kino? Let's go back to Kino. So some of the other ones on here that I would suggest, and again, a lot of these are Bava. So Baron Blood, A Bay of Blood, Black Sabbath, Black Sunday. Those are all kind of must-haves, must-sees at least once. $5 for an August Moon is pretty good. Kill Baby Kill is a classic. Lost Highway is the Lynch title, which did not come out that long ago, and it appears to be coming in 4K from Criterion. So if you'd rather have a 4K, it should be coming out soon. Janus Films, they've posted about it many times. They're playing the new 4K restoration in theaters. That is essentially a guarantee that it's coming. Monster Dog is the Night Stalker and the Night Strangler, which this picture is from. I suggest both of those. They're both really good. And then one that doesn't get a lot of talk that I genuinely appreciate, Space Camp. Space Camp is kind of cheesy, but it's overall, it's really fun for when it came out. It's pretty funny. And then, of course, wrapping it up at the bottom, you cannot go wrong with Trilogy of Terror. Karen Black is amazing. She looks great. The stories are great. It's a little anthology. It's 3 movies, obviously. Trilogy of Terror, not movies, but segments that make up a movie. And Trilogy of Terror is just fun overall, especially that last story. All that is man. Hey, what's going on, Brian? Love Space Camp in the ADC, and it honestly, it still holds up pretty well. Hey, Ken, what's going on? Glad to have you. All right, next up. Okay, let's discuss it. So Vinegar Syndrome casually, in their newsletter last week, on Friday, they started to hype up the sale. And they said, by the way, we're releasing Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2 in 4K this year. So if you want, be a halfway subscriber. Just casually at the end of their email. What? How do you just casually drop that? I mean, that's crazy. This is a big title. This is like this. I mean, I hesitate to say it, but this might be one of the biggest title. Well, probably the most mainstream title that they've put out on the Vinegar Syndrome line, other than Rad. And that is a big deal. And honestly, it might be bigger than Rad, especially nowadays. Rad is a very cult movie, but so this is crazy that they're putting this out. Obviously, this is because they have a deal with MGM. Now, a lot of people saw this and immediately speculated, shit, Vinegar Syndrome is only going to be putting out reprints of 4K titles that Scream Factory had go out of print. I don't necessarily see that being the case. I see some titles that deserve it. Bubba, you are right. I totally forgot since that just came out. Death Wish 2 is pretty big. But yeah, there is a lot that they can still do with this. Some of the people that are in the movie, especially Bill Moseley, very much still alive, and Chop Top is arguably the biggest part of Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. So yeah, I imagine there's going to be new features. I imagine this is going to look really good in 4K. This is a big deal. And honestly, Born to Be Rad is right. It is bigger than Rad. I was trying to give Rad the respect it deserves, but it's certainly bigger. There is a lot of other stuff that could come with a potential MGM deal, though. And Ken brings up Poltergeist 2, Killer Clowns, Child's Play Carrie are Vinegar's next MGMs. Unless you know something I don't, that's a lot to put out there. Some of those I could see them choosing to do, but others maybe not. If they could get access to a couple of those, I think it would be a big deal. But I don't know. We'll see. There's a lot that could potentially happen, and until we know more details, until we see more of like a pattern, it's kind of messed up to speculate too much, because we can hope and we can hope and wish, but at the same time, you don't want to build yourself up to where you're disappointed by what they put out or don't put out. And I don't know. There's a lot. I understand, Christopher, that there's a lot of releases of the same titles, but again, if something's been out of print for years, like this has been, literally, other people getting a chance at these movies is not a bad thing. To me, that's a great thing. And again, nobody's forcing you to buy these. And the only other argument that I do understand is the people that bring up, since they're putting out Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2, does that mean we're not getting other releases that would have been lost? And I don't see that being the case. All I see this being is them able to fund titles that never would have been released necessarily. So yeah, there's a lot they could do. And Tom says, is Return of the Living Dead MGM? Yes, that has been out of print for a while. But again, we never got the real full Return of the Living Dead in the US. The only one. Do I have it close to me? I do. I have this in a plastic bag in a protector, so it may glare a lot. This is the only Return of the Living Dead on Blu-ray in the world that has the entire soundtrack intact. This is the Second Sight. Oh, that's awful. Second Sight Steelbook release of the Return of the Living Dead, and I could see them doing justice for that one. Return of the Living Dead is a very punk title, and yeah, it makes sense for them. John says, this is a good thing. Can't wait to see the TLC they put into the disc. They've done nothing to make us think otherwise. I agree, and I hope they sell 10,000 copies so we get more. Amen to that. That's exactly what I see. Let's see. Hilton says, the Arrow TCM2 is stacked with extras, including old Toby student films. Hope VS carries over. That would be nice. Those never saw release in the US, so those potentially could be different rights holders. I don't know if those are licensed anywhere, if they're just a part of his estate now. Because if I remember right, I think the UK release was done before he passed. So who knows on that front. Anyways, we've talked about this enough. The merits of this coming out in 4K is another thing to talk about real quick. A lot of people have said this can't look that great in 4K. I disagree. I mean, this is the kind of movie that is going to shine in 4K. And the original one that is also coming out this fall in 4K from Second Sight that just got a 4K release in Germany, I guarantee you that one's going to look great in 4K as well. Second Sight does amazing work. Moving right along. Speaking of reprints, this is the kind of reprint I don't really support. So, Synapse Films announced Massacre at Central High in a steelbook release a little bit ago. I think it was 2020 that came out. And it's a great movie. I love this movie. I bought the steelbook primarily because they said a standard edition is not on the horizon. And if it happens someday, then we'll see. But just like clockwork, the Synapse standard edition happened. So we're getting Massacre at Central High. This is coming just in time for school this fall, September 13th. And I highly suggest it. This is a really fun film. It goes way over the top compared to what you expect from a movie like this. It's got fun action. It's got fun kills. It's got some really wacky choices in it. But overall, a really unique movie. I'm glad that this is going to be able to be in the hands of more people. But at the same time, sell it at the same time as the steelbook. Announce the release. Have this come out. Sell this at the exact same time as the steelbook. And that way, everybody wins. And even, I've talked about the Steelbook being, I think it was 50 or $60, being overpriced. And I agree, it still is. However, put this out at the same time and sell it for $28, and you're making a lot of money. All kinds of people that love Steelbooks can still buy the Steelbook. And after this, they'll have the opportunity to buy this. If they don't want the Steelbook, everybody wins, including Synapse. And Synapse looks better because they're doing both at the same time, and fans are happier. Maddie, hey. Now they have a cheaper standard after 2 years. What the heck? Glad I didn't buy it originally. I'm doing the same thing with the current one that they have out there for the Tombs of the Blind Dead. I don't know that I want the Steelbook, and you just know they're going to put out a standard eventually. That's the hard part. I'm the Ice Lord. How's everybody doing? Glad to see you. Do you think Synapse is coming off even a bit shadier considering the Thriller debacle? Well, here's the hard part. So with a lot of these deals and stuff, we're never going to know the details of what happened behind the scenes. It does appear that Synapse was in the wrong on Thriller, but that doesn't mean that they were malicious about it. They could have genuinely thought they had the rights. But at the same time, when Vinegar Syndrome announced theirs, you would think they would get in contact and get it handled. That way it's not done publicly over like 5 months. The worst thing that I think Synapse did there was when Vinegar Syndrome announced theirs, Synapse put their release, they moved it up. They moved it up 2 or 3 weeks so that it released earlier. I can't think of a logical explanation other than let's sell as many of these as we can before the cease and desist comes into play. That's exactly what it comes off as to me. If anybody else knows another reason, I would love to. Okay, John says, listen to their podcast. They often and clearly explain their reasons for Steelbook first. I will consider that, and I hope that you message me and tell me what the exact reason is. Bubba Fett says they will release it in 4K next year. That one I don't necessarily agree with. I don't think Synapse is going to be releasing everything in 4K. People have said that simply because of the Argento titles that they've worked on with Arrow, but the bigger thing is Suspiria. They released Suspiria, and then a couple years later, they released it in 4K. I don't think that they are as bad at releasing something in 4K as somebody like Blue Underground. Man, there's a lot to unpack there, because I don't think Blue Underground has really done anything wrong either. I just think Synapse they released the Suspiria, and it came in a time when 4K really hadn't taken hold yet. But it's a giant title, and it makes sense when it came in at a 4K scan to put it out on 4K. But you got to realize, when they decided that, they didn't just stop with the first scan, put it on a UHD disc, and call it a day. They still had to do a lot more work to that file. They had to do HDR. They had to do more color correction. They had to make sure that everything still worked for the UHD. And that is a lot of work, especially for a title like Suspiria, where the colors are so damn important. The Suspiria thing, I think, was blown way out of proportion, because a lot of people, when that got released, still did not understand the merits of 4K. And a title like Suspiria is one that is really going to shine in 4K, and it does. It is one of those titles that you say, oh, you're considering getting a 4K player? Sit down. Let me show you how good it could look. Restoration for a company like that is years. Literally, Synapse has taken years on some of these. It is something... Exactly. John says they're a small business. Restoration is expensive. And beyond the restoration, again, HDR color grading, the extra work that they did on the sound, all of that takes a lot of time. It is so much work, so much manpower, so much resources. It was not just a copy and paste from one Blu-ray disc to a 4K disc. It was not that simple. So I don't necessarily think Massacre at Central High is going to come on 4K. I think that this is like Suspiria is a cult title, but Massacre at Central High is like a cult title. Or to put it better, like Suspiria is like a mainstream cult title. Massacre at Central High is not. This is one that doesn't have a league of fans that has seen this, that have only watched 10% of horror movies. Massacre at Central High very much has a niche fan base, and yeah, I don't see this going 4K. Let's see. Ken says, have any idea why Blue Underground hasn't put out Anguish on Blue or 4K? Do we know if they still have the rights? If they have not put it out on Blue yet, which obviously they haven't, they either don't have the rights or the elements are so messed up that they don't see a way to it yet. I imagine if they do have the rights, they would have done it by now. So, yeah, that's a tough one, Ken. I'm not entirely sure there. But anyways, Massacre Central High, for those that want the standard, still has all of the special features as the Steelbook. I don't think there's any difference. Everything looked identical to me, unless somebody saw something I didn't. So if you have the Steelbook, you're not missing anything. If you were holding out and you didn't buy the Steelbook, you are not losing anything by getting this instead of the Steelbook. But I highly suggest picking it up. It's a great movie. John says, much like Fight for Your Life. Yeah, that one, from what I hear, will never have a Blu-ray because the elements are so messed up. But that DVD is still readily available, and it looks pretty good for a DVD. It's one of the better DVD releases. Little bit of self-promotion, a little bit. Vinegar Syndrome Month. I've been putting out all kinds of stuff for Vinegar Syndrome Month. I hope everybody's been liking it. If you are if you are here because of that, thank you. I have put out this interview with Ross from Saturn's Core Audio and Video. Then early Monday this week, I put out tips for newbies, basically, for the Vinegar Syndrome sale. And then just yesterday, I put out volume 1 of like quintessential Vinegar Syndrome titles. And I've got 2 more of those that are going to be coming out. And just a little sneak peek at the rest of the slate coming out. Tomorrow, I have another interview with a partner label that's coming out. And it's pretty good. It is very different from the Ross interview, and I think that a lot of people will like it. I am also open for suggestions. I got a couple days on my calendar that are still free for videos that I'm going to put out. I was waiting to see what people were going to give with feedback, see what anybody wanted. So if anybody has any ideas, hit me in the comments below, hit me in the chat. Something that you would want to see. I'm either already doing it or I will try to do it. Or I will refer you to a video where I've already done it. I will warn, a lot of people are probably going to ask about the subscription. I am going to do a little update on that and tell you why I think it's worth it. But it is a really good time to be a Vinegar Syndrome fan. I think that they have an extremely exciting year ahead of them. And this year already has been, I mean, I kind of hesitate to say it, but I think it's been the best year in Vinegar Syndrome history so far. They've put out some of the way like off the charts better titles that they've ever put out. So next up, every single week, got to do it at least once. Let's see, who's this? Kino is putting out Dead Heat on the Merry-Go-Round. I know nothing about this one as usual. Stars James Coburn, directed by Bernard Gerard. If anybody's seen it, let's get some feedback in the comments about it. Yeah, we don't know a release date or anything, but it is coming. The big exciting one that they put out over the weekend, Ronin with Robert De Niro, is coming in 4K, and this is a big title. Arrow had this for a long time. Obviously, had one of their better well, it had a slipcover, but it was like one of their standard releases. It wasn't a hard box. But this is interesting. I'm sure they're going to be able to get a lot of the special features that Arrow had. I would see a lot of people that were missing the Ronin release really going crazy over this one. So make sure that you get your pre-order in for this. This is one of the bigger, kind of more modern titles. Obviously, it's not as modern as something like Eternal Sunshine, but 1998 is pretty modern, and it's De Niro. It's a big name, and then obviously Frankenheimer and Stellan Skarsgård. God, everybody is in this. This is a great movie. Ronin is a lot of fun. If you've never seen it, it is It's wild. But yeah, this is getting a good 4K Dolby Vision HDR master. I'm sure this one's going to look amazing. We got some release details for one that is kind of exciting for me. So, I'm Dangerous Tonight. This is a Tobe Hooper film, and this is coming on July 26th. You can pre-order this now from the Kino site or from Amazon. In all of my posts about this, I've got the link to Amazon, and I thought the link to the Kino site was on here, but it looks like it's not. I do suggest, if you are going to be getting them from Kino, make sure you're getting paying attention, because the prices on Kino are generally cheaper than everybody else, and not just by like $1, by like $3 or $4, so that adds up. What's going on, Courtney? Glad you're here. That's my sister. Hello, you're my favorite. Let's see. I'm Dangerous Tonight. We got Arlie Ermy, Dee Wallace, Anthony Perkins. This one has a new audio commentary. We've got the editors of American Twilight, the cinema of Tobe Hooper, so they're going to know a lot about him. And then a new audio commentary by filmmaker and historian Michael Varrati. New interview with Dee Wallace, who seems to be at every single horror convention. So I'm just glad that they got her. I'm glad that they got new interviews. And then there's archival stuff on here. New video essay by Chris O'Neill. And yeah, this one, it sounds decent. This is one that I'm definitely going to get. What's up, Jake? Odd, but so another bit of self-promotion, I guess, because I got 1,000 subs last week. Thanks to all of you guys. I turned on the super thanks and the super chat. So if you ever want to use those, I'm never going to push for it, never going to beg for money, but it helps the channel. It helps me to be able to do things like pay for the streaming service that costs money, and editing software, and everything else that comes with this. Obviously, I'm paying out of pocket for a lot of this stuff. But yeah, it's there if you want it. And yeah, if the ads ever get too intrusive, let me know. Then we got some Umbrella announcements, and this is when we're going to talk about one of those reprints that we were meeting up earlier. So The Love Witch is coming. This got a release from Oscilloscope in the US, and this is coming from Umbrella. Their Beyond Genres line, these are coming with a limited edition slipcover always. Really great art. These slipcovers on these are beautiful. I know it's an odd thing to point out on some of these, but the Beyond Genres line, if you have all of the slips, look really good together. I wish I had got them from the beginning. This one also limited to 100, so it's honestly by this point probably sold out. If you buy it direct from Umbrella, you get the Love Witch tarot card deck with art cards and an A3 reversible poster. But this also features, from the same director, Viva, which got a Kino Lorber release. So as what basically amounts to like a $20 title, this turns out to be an amazing package. This looks really good. Maddie says, I'm trying to get Tobe Hooper complete this year. Nice. I'm Dangerous Tonight is one I need to get. That's a good one. Do you think Love Witch will be region free? I can't guarantee it, but my guess will be yes, it likely will be. Pretty much everything that Umbrella puts out has been region free. Although, like I've said before, you can't ever count on distributors all being region free, because it depends on the license, the license holders. However, I think that there's some different copyright laws in Australia, and it seems like everything that comes out of Australia, not everything, most things, almost everything that comes out of Australia is region free. So I think that there's some ways that they get around that, which is nice. I'm glad that they're able to do that, to cater to people in other parts of the world. I'm probably not supposed to be showing those animated nipples, but hey, here we are. The Love Witch. The next one in the Beyond Genres line, or I guess the previous one, because that was 20 and this is 19, but the immediate cult classic title featuring the man Rutger Hauer, who is just ridiculously great in this film. And I really hope, if you've never seen this film, I really hope you give this film a fair shake, because this is an odd one. It's not like It's not like the Greasy Strangler Rod, but it's like a modern exploitation flick taken to the next level, and it's amazing. Hobo with a Shotgun is great. The art on this is amazing too. But check this out. So, world first release of Hobo with a Shotgun on VHS. It is 2022, and Umbrella is legitimately printing Hobo with a Shotgun on VHS. Limited to the first 100 sales of this, and they are, I don't know what word that was out of my mouth. They are selling one of their new air fresheners that they're putting out with a bunch of stuff as well. Yeah, this looks like a fun release. Again, they've got all kinds of stuff on here. They've got the audio commentaries with the director and Rutger Hauer himself. None of these are new, but they are all together, and it's very, very good. Again, if you don't have it, this is pretty much a must own and a must watch. This is great. Zach, how you doing? Glad you're here. Next from Umbrella, we got Dead Kids. So this has been released in the US by Severin, and I will say I kind of hate this movie. I don't like this movie. I think it's pretty boring overall. The Ozploitation Classics line has done very well for them, and a lot of the movies are very good. I just don't like this one. If you've never seen it, I won't say don't watch it, because again, it might be your new favorite movie, but it is not one that I love. Let me see. I think there's alternate artwork as well. Huh, maybe not. Maybe if you flip it over. But either way, so this is limited to 100. They have the big full-size Daybill poster here in the back that you see. And then the first 1,000 get the Tangerine Dream soundtrack. But John says, 10 Bava titles from Kino headed my way because my scare tactics work. You're welcome. Okay, Jeff, I will say, I do not like this movie. Zach liked Dead Kids. It has nice visuals. I mean, yeah, it's filmed pretty well. I can say that. And, God, who? Does it say who directed this? Michael Laughlin, co-director. I don't remember who the other director was. Okay, so this has exclusive features on it, though, that were not on the Severin release. So if you like this movie, there's some good reasons to get this. You've got deleted scenes, stills and poster gallery, Anthony I. Ganane trailer reel, the Not Quite Hollywood extended interview with the producer, all kinds of archival featurettes. There's a lot on here. It's a good release of a movie. I just don't love it. Maximus says, that's quite a sentence to Zach's, I like Dead Kids. That was pretty good. Maddie says, Severin was teasing a needle in the eye that's very similar to that if Dead Kids, and they're halfway to Halloween sale. I believe that was for Faceless, the Jess Franco title that they just did at, what was that, Cinema Wasteland or whatever? I believe that was the Franco needle in the eye, if I remember right. In fact, I think... Nope, I don't have it near me anymore. I had a media book with the Franco one. I don't have it by me, though. Next one, Lieutenant Jingles. This is from 2018, and again, not a great movie. It is very much a modern film. This is from 2018, like I said, so it feels modern, and it feels... This is one of those movies that feels like it's trying to be tongue-in-cheek, and because of that, you can feel like it's trying to be tongue-in-cheek, and it doesn't really work, at least for me. Again, might be your new favorite. I have the old release of this that was in the US. That was from, oh gosh, who was that from? I think it was Scream Team Releasing put this out in the US. And it's okay. I definitely wanted a lot more from it, but it's, again, a good release. The Day One Boys commentary track with a lot of people involved in it. Fan commentary with co-creators. Making of documentary, all kinds of featurettes. I'm not going to name them all since they're 29 seconds long. It would take as long to read them. I don't think there's anything exclusive to this. that is not on the US release. So if you already have that one, there's not a real reason to upgrade here. This is the full package they're going with, so there is a poster if you're into that. But again, I mean, Scream Team Releasing sold a poster in the US as well, so not a whole lot that is compelling about this one. But again, it's a good thing that another region gets to have some of the art that they didn't have before without importing it. That's a big deal. Importing is a very niche thing, and while we're looking at this, we should keep that in mind, because a lot of us, like, I've got UK titles behind me that you can see. I've got stuff from Germany probably that you can see right there. I've got stuff from a lot of countries. I messaged a friend of mine on Instagram who's going to Brazil this summer, and he may be picking up a title for me from Brazil, because I don't have anything from Brazil. So hoping to do something about that soon. I love importing, but a lot of people, they don't get into that. So this gives those in Australia a chance to see this movie that I'm saying is bad. So who wins? I don't know. But the big one. Okay, so this has a lot of, not really drama, but information with it. So Ghoulies 1 and 2 is coming out from Umbrella. First of all, kind of a cool cover. They're going very retro with it, with the VHS stickers on here. And is there anything else, or just the back? Just the back. So what's cool here, let me see if I think I can highlight it. So new here, 2 extended TV cuts with extra footage taken from archival VHS recordings. So these are getting footage that was not footage that was not in the Scream Factory release. Now, when this got announced, Diabolic DVD, just a couple hours later, Jesse from Diabolic went on Twitter and said, if you're in the US, don't pick this up because you may want to wait. Which means somebody else is putting this out. It is likely coming this fall. And immediately, because some of our hints about the May secret titles, I believe this is why. Because one of them mentioned Creature Feature, and some other people were looking at the titles coming from the Vinegar Syndrome subscription for the rest of the year. A lot of people immediately thought Vinegar Syndrome is putting out Ghoulies 1 and 2 in 4K. I even saw somebody on Facebook say Vinegar Syndrome just confirmed they are putting out Ghoulies 1 and 2 in 4K. They have not confirmed that. And in fact, it appears that they have shot that down, that they are not putting this out on 4K in the US. Now, there has been at least once in the past when Vinegar Syndrome did say, we are not putting out Miami Connection. And then just a couple months later announced Miami Connection was coming in 4K. Now, with Miami Connection specifically, I believe that one was because they found the new they found the elements that were previously thought to be destroyed in Hurricane Sandy. Now, in fact, I don't think they found those ones. I think they found another print that they were able to restore. So, I don't think that Vinegar Syndrome was malicious in saying that they were not putting out Miami Connection. But with this one, I think that if they had this one and it was coming, I think they would have said it. Well, even if they didn't say it, they definitely would not have said we are not doing it. That's a lot of integrity to put on a company, and if they do that, a lot of people will not trust them anymore. So yeah, there's a lot to make sure that we keep expectations in line with something like that. Let's see. This is the Retro Sci-Fi Double Feature Volume 4 coming from Umbrella. We got Battlestar Galactica and Buck Rogers and the 25th Century. The Battlestar Galactica, that's from 78. Does anybody know if that has a US release? I'm not sure on that one. I know Buck Rogers does, and that is out from Kino. And usually when it's on sale, it is very cheap. And then they also have the big Buck Rogers box set that has the movie in there as well. But I'm not sure about the Battlestar Galactica. I don't think that is out on Kino. Quiet Rob says the movie does, so probably. Yeah, so if that's got a US release, I don't see a reason to double dip on this necessarily if you're in the US. But again, people in Australia, they get a chance to own it. Another double feature, we got The Andromeda Strain and The Ground Star Conspiracy. I don't think I've ever seen The Ground Star Conspiracy. And that one says a break-in and sabotage attempt occurs at a top-secret research institute, and the culprit is cornered and captured. The problem is that he's been badly injured and claims to have lost his memory entirely. A cat-and-mouse game ensues between investigator Tuxon, the mystery intruder Wells, and the people who sent him on the mission. It sounds interesting, at least. It sounds very like Jason Bourne type, but I don't know. I'd give it a watch at least once. One of their retro horror, usually double or triple features. This one is a triple feature, and this is volume 3. And they are all Invisible Man films. We got The Invisible Man Returns, The Invisible Woman, and Invisible Agent. Those are from 1940, 1940, and 42. They were just pumping those out back then. And then the next one from Umbrella, we got The Bloody Jungle and Circus of Fear, both Christopher Lee films. That's a retro horror volume 2 double feature. I think, if I remember it, I think both of these have a, let me see. I think both of these have a Scream Factory release, right? Bloody Jungle. Oh, maybe not. Let's see. Circus. Oh, I was thinking of Circus of Horrors. That's not the same thing, is it? Nope, that's 10 years later. Very interesting. Okay, so we don't have those on Scream Factory. I wonder if those have some are from something else. Oh, Antoine says Blue Underground. That makes sense. All right. We are finally done with Umbrella, and we finally got details on Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. We have been waiting on this. I think they announced this last March or April, and something happened with where they were doing the restoration, and the plant was closed for a long time. They were waiting on somebody to get back from vacation. They were waiting on the COVID lockdown to be dropped over there. I think it was in Spain or something. And this is finally here, finally coming on July 26th. Comes in one of the new Kino Lorber slipcovers that they're releasing. And the only thing, I think there's, let's see, I think there's one new featurette, maybe? Yes. So this is a brand new Dolby Vision HDR master, color graded by the cinematographer. And then it has all of the old featurettes. And then right here, Memory Light, new interview with cinematographer Ellen Karras. I think that's how you say the last name. But that's it. Everything else is all the same as the previous release. So if you don't love this movie, this may not be a compelling upgrade for you. I personally adore this movie, and this is a day oneer for me. I think that the cast is one of the best ever assembled. I think that the story is amazing. I think that Jim Carrey puts on probably a career best performance in this film, and it's just great. If you've never seen it, I also highly recommend this movie. It is a very touching and mature type of film. It really goes into a lot of the dread of adulthood and relationships and what comes with it. It's a good film. Next up, the next Kino 4K we got some release details on. June 26th from Stanley Kubrick. We're getting The Killing in 4K, brand new Dolby Vision HDR master. Then a new audio commentary by film historian Alan K. Rode. But that's it. That's all that's on the disc is that new commentary and a trailer. And that's it. Nothing special other than those. Still going to be a good release. I'm sure it'll look great. I'm sure that this is one that a lot of people are going to get. And this is the alternate artwork. Kino is doing really well with their 4K upgrades this year, and I think that it's going to be a very important year for 4K for them. If these continue to sell well, I think that some of the classics that they have access to now are almost a lock to come in 4K. Flickering says Eternal Sunshine is brilliant. Glad you agree. John says, disappointed in the features. Love the film. Looking forward to seeing it in 4K. I agree, and that alone is worth it for the upgrade for me. Ooh, Ken says The Killing is top 3 Kubrick. I think that's a hot take. I think that's a very hot take. Man, top 3. That's wow. I don't even know about top 5, Ken. Wow. You know it's not top 3 though. 2001: A Space Odyssey. Coming on June 27th from 101 Films as part of their Black Label line, we are getting Rock and Roll High School, which, if you notice, at the very beginning of this, we were talking about 2 101 Films titles that were coming that were Roger Corman titles. This is also a Roger Corman title, which means they clearly have a deal with Shout Factory for using the rights to some of these Corman titles, and I foresee a lot of those coming to the UK for the first time. Here is a look at the case for Rock and Roll High School, and then they got this little book that they're putting out as well, Rock and Roll High School, coming with it for the original limited edition release. This is from '79, and if you've never seen it, highly recommend it. This one is fun. It's a very Ramones heavy film. It's got PJ Souls, it's got punk, it's got silly 70s high school. It's good. And the 4K scan they're using from this is the Shout Factory one that was in the Steelbook, and it looks amazing. So if you don't have that Steelbook, I recommend this. I really do think it's going to look good. I think that you would enjoy the release. I think it's one of those films that's pretty much got something for everybody. Let's see. Ken says, Dr. Strangelove, The Killing, and The Shining are top 3 Kubrick. As of May 12th in 2022, I don't know that I would agree with any of those 3. And it's weird for me to say that I don't know that The Shining is top 3 for me. But yeah, The Killing is definitely not for me. And Strangelove is not top 3 for me. Quiet Rob, that's one of the other ones. I think A Clockwork Orange would be top 3 for me. And then nowadays I might go Eyes Wide Shut. I appreciate that so much more than I used to. But it would either be that or Full Metal Jacket. I think that they're great. Flickering says, I love this one enough. I would consider getting this just for the package. Yeah, there is nothing new feature-wise. They're just using the Shout Factory features. Maddie says, Rock and Roll High School is an all-time classic. Amen. Super fun without being cheesy. Even the human-sized rats are hilarious. Yeah, for its time, I think this is a really good one. I think it was ahead. Obviously, the 80s, we saw an explosion of like high school films, and this one came out right before them. And I feel like it doesn't get enough love nowadays. I think it gets overlooked for what I think are the worst, not worst, but much worse films. Things like Revenge of the Nerds, which I still don't even know why the legacy on that one is so high. But, that and the Porkies and stuff like that. I'd much rather watch Rock and Roll High School any day over those. Okay, let's talk about one of the big ones. If you're in the U.S., Arrow Video is sponsoring a sale through Grindhouse Video. This is now that Grindhouse Video is open with their physical location in Knoxville, Tennessee. This sale is going to be starting tonight at midnight, Eastern Standard Time. This is going to be starting at 12:01, and it's going to be ending on June 5th. So this is kind of a long sale. You got a lot of time to make some decisions. It's going to be at the same time as the Vinegar Syndrome sale. So I would take a look at here. Take a look at the sale. The prices you're going to see are going to be 50% off of the MSRP for Arrow titles, and in the US, they are dramatically more expensive than in the UK. So essentially, any of the standard type releases that are not like the hard box, I think I got standard Arrow, yeah, right there. This is the case of the Scorpion's Tail. Most of the movies that are like this are going to be $20 unless they're the really old ones. Then they're probably going to be somewhere between 15 and 17. But this is a good chance if you're only wanting a few in the US. This is probably like the best you're going to be able to get. Certain things like box sets, I would plan on those being around 35 to 50-ish, depending on the box set. The one thing I'm curious about is if they're going to be selling things like the Shaw Brothers set, and is the Shaw scope going to be on sale for a price that we have not seen yet, because I don't think, although I got to be honest, I did not look for it in the actual Arrow sale. Did anybody else see if Shawscope was on sale then? Let's see. Mitchell says, still waiting on Battles Without Honor 1 through 3. They sent 4 and 5 separately. I heard that though they sold a lot of them because they were only $5, so they needed to get some reprinted. So they're waiting on that shipment. Maddie says, funny, I'm in the middle of the Kubrick draft on the Screen Draft podcast. Oh, not to I'm just shilling for myself for everything. If you are not subscribed to my second channel, in the description below, I have a second channel called Discovering Cinema, where I do a show every Tuesday with my friend Flip. Next Tuesday, we are full-blown copying screen drafts, and we're going to do a draft our own live next Tuesday night at 9 o'clock Central. It's going to be fun. Please tune in. I have to cough again. 1 second. Arrow sale. If there are certain things that you want, check it out. Keep in mind, a lot of times other places start to price match when things go on sale like this. So take a look around. If you are wanting, something else, or you're desperately wanting free shipping, there might be a better price out there. But at the same time, I honestly suggest not buying from something like Amazon. I highly suggest supporting small business. I love Mike. I mean, I had him on the show just a couple months ago. I think that a sale like this does wonders for that store and will help him quite a lot, especially now that he's finally open in a new physical location. Wondering if that crazy discount for the stylist that was in the earlier sale will show up this sale. Don't think the Shaw Brothers set was discounted. That makes sense. The Stylist, by the way, highly recommend that movie. It is a local Kansas City film, and I loved it. It is a high, like 3.5 to 4 for me, and really well made. Maybe a little tease. I'm trying to get the director on the show so we can talk about The Stylist, and she's here in Kansas City. Really good stuff. The extras on that disc really go into like the heart of Kansas City and where they filmed and all of that. I love it. I strongly suggest you pick up that release. It's great. Next up, kind of a cool thing. So we got an announcement that I missed somehow because they made this account 8 months ago, and I don't know how to pronounce this out loud. Hopefully Angel can drop into the chat eventually or in the comments and let me know how to say this. If this is a Latin American term, even, I'm not sure. I'm going to go with my very white voice and say Mawu Films or Mawu Films. This is a new independent UK Blu-ray distribution company specializing in multi-award-winning African and Latin American cinema. The ethos of the company is to bring rare masterpieces to light, selected from different decades and film movements. Our aim is to stimulate discussion and nourish new conversations around revered classics so long hidden from the world, which sounds amazing to me. I love that they're doing this. Yes, John, The Stylist did just hit Shudder just this week. Using the best available material for our audience, each limited edition will be paired with an original poster, a documentary, an audio commentary, a booklet containing a newly commissioned essay by a leading expert, short films, and original archival material where available. I mean, that is all that I could hope for. I love that they're putting so much into these. I love that they're saying this is our hope to do these from the very beginning. I love that they are trying to put their all into these. I love so much that they are promoting other cultures' films and really focusing on it. And to me, if you've paid attention to them, this feels to me like a lot like Second Run feels, that has teamed up with Arrow in the UK. They do a lot of like Eastern European and titles like that. But yeah, this feels like a really great company to support. And the way to support them is with this first release. Excuse me. Man Marked for Death 20 years later. This one is odd. It shows as available on their site, but when you click on the Amazon link that they are promoting, by the way, the company is telling you to buy from Amazon also, even though they also sell it from their site, it shows as not available. So I'm not entirely sure if this is actually out yet. I can't find a release date. It looks like it was supposed to release on April 26th, but I'm not sure if that was actually the case. This is from 1984, and it says, part fictionalized true story and part documentary. This extraordinary film sets out to tell the story of, I don't know how to pronounce that first name, João Pedro Teixeira, leader of the Sape Peasant League in northeast Brazil, who was murdered on orders from the landowners. Before the film could be completed, a right-wing military coup forced the closure of its production and the imprisonment of several members of the crew. Decades later, Coutinho returned to the original film location, and using surviving footage alongside interviews with members of the original cast, including Pedro's wife, Elizabeth, he created this compelling commentary on Brazilian history, politics, and class conflict. I mean, this is awesome. I love that they're doing this. I love that other sectors of the world, other cultures are going to be able to get so much of their history out there. I love when companies like this really dive deep and share what they know and can find. And then, just like they said, the first limited edition 3,000 copies will be numbered, have an O-card slipcase. It will have a collector's booklet with new writing by Berkeley professor Natalia Brazula, and limited edition fold-out poster featuring the original design by Claudius Cacon, with a specially commissioned interview with the film's producer, award-winning interview with the director, and newly commissioned trailer on a region-free Blu-ray. So buy this everywhere. Correct, Flickering. I did not see anything about them shipping to the US, and that's when I couldn't find it for sale on Amazon in the UK. I don't know what to do. I don't know if there's a way to get this. I was going to message Mark, actually, at Orbit and see if he can have access to it through one of his distributors. But at this point, not entirely sure. Just sharing the word with everybody. Today, Scorpion announced that they are putting out High Desert Kill, and this is the one that I wanted to share with Sardis because it immediately made me think of him. So I've not seen this. This is from 1989. Mark Singer from The Beastmaster, Anthony Geary from UHF, and Micah Grant from Waxwork star as three hunters who become the hunted in this riveting sci-fi horror adventure set in the Badlands of New Mexico. Awesome. Three friends embark on a hunting expedition and meet a grizzled mountain man played by Chuck fucking Connors, awesome, who tells them that something has scared away all the animals in the region. As they find themselves reverting into primitive and bizarre behavior, the men soon discover they are being manipulated in cruel experiments for a bloodthirsty alien force. Their only hope for survival is to unite against the extraterrestrial in this haunting made-for-cable chiller. So it's probably not super gory, probably not, bloody, probably not a whole lot of death necessarily, but I really want to see it. Oh, Chris has seen it, and he says he enjoyed this. Awesome. That means a lot. I mean, anybody that's seen it, that goes pretty far. I definitely want to see this, though. All right, and to end on a high note, we got news, finally, of Severin's mid-year sale, which is coming earlier than expected. This is coming June 10th to June 13th, and they have guaranteed 8 brand new titles, 3 special mid-year sale bundles. Sardis is not sold on it. Come on. Oh, not a Connors fan. Oh, okay. I could see that being different then. They're going to have a limited edition book. They're going to have brand new merch. And then, as usual, 50% off of SRP on most Severin and Intervision titles. That is coming June 10th to 13th. They learned a few years ago not to compete with Vinegar Syndrome twice a year. And they broke this out, and they're doing theirs in June instead of May. And it looks interesting. The art on this, I do believe, is from Faceless, if I remember right. But yes, Severin sale next month. Going to be talking about that, of course. And just get prepared. Severin has a lot of really good titles. I love Severin. I love everything they're doing. I'm very curious about these 8 brand new titles. All right, friends. Do you know where the 50% off titles will start? For Severin, it is usually a full 6 months. So that means usually from I can't remember if it's December or what was in the Black Friday sale. One of the two. The dates will go prior to those. They go back further than Vinegar Syndrome. But we should be able to go on their site soon and click on the little FAQs for the sale. They put up their policies pretty early over there. Chris says, any ideas what the 8 new titles from Severin will be? Well, we know 2 of them. Faceless in 4K, and then the other Bridget Leahy title. Oh gosh, what is the name of that one? The other one that they're putting out. Let me pull up a picture. Unless somebody else can answer before I get there. Somebody else probably will. The other one they just released at that other sale was... Scrolling. There it is. The Female Executioner. So we know those 2 are 2 of the 8. It appears they are leaning heavily on Franco. And also wanted to bring up, if you did not see, I shared the picture today. Blue Underground has confirmed they're working on 2 more Francos for 4K before the end of 2022. And they've not announced those. We have no idea what those are. That's pretty dang cool. Let me share what is coming out next week, since we always talk about that. Just in case you missed it. Blu-ray release dates. Here it is. Let me get my dumb face off of there so you can see it better. Next week, we got The Escape from New York 4K from Scream Factory. The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance from Paramount presents Top Secret from Paramount. Beverly Hills Cop 2 in 4K. We are finally seeing the release of Licorice Pizza on Blue. The Craft in 4K. Extreme Prejudice is coming from Vestron. Femme Fatale from Scream or Shout, whichever one it's on. The Hell or High Water, the 4K Steelbook that's coming out from Lionsgate. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde from Warner Archive. And keep in mind, a lot of these are shipping already, depending on where you order them from. If they go through MVD, pretty much all of these have started shipping. Girls Night Out from Arrow. Violent City from Kino. Without Warning from Kino. Bell. I think this is one that some people have been talking about. I don't know anything about that one, but The Funeral from Criterion. This is The Scaremaker. This is the alternate Girls Night Out slipcover. That is also coming from Arrow. And then Wormwood Apocalypse. That was I remember liking the first one of those. I think this is the 3rd Wormwood film. Never seen it, but I'm interested at least. Slasher, Flesh and Blood. Everybody I know that likes Slasher seem to really like this season, so if you're into that, that is getting a release. Death Valley from Shudder and RLJE. That's another one. Outside the Law is coming from Cohen Media. Another Cohen, 2 Men in Town. And I think that's it for the week. All right. Jim says, the transfer on Escape from New York is amazing. Sound is great, too. That is good to know. I have not received mine yet. I'm really curious to compare it to the Studio Canal version, because on, what were the first 2? Escape from New York, not Escape from New York, that's the one we're talking about. The Prince of Darkness and They Live. Both of those were Studio Canal releases first, and the encoding and all of that appeared to be better on the Scream Factory release. So I'm curious to see if they're... I don't know why I just hit my mic, sorry. I'm curious to see if they continue that, if they're able to do better. So I'm very, very curious. I wish Studio Canal would jump up a little bit. And I don't know. I mean, they do really good work, and they're putting out a lot of stuff, too. Maddie says we should take bets as to when Severin's site will crash, thinking under a half hour. I mean, if it's anything like the past, like 3 minutes, basically. Chris says, I really hope there's more horror releases. Horror seems to be drying up a little with most boutiques. I think most people that don't like horror would scoff at you saying that, because horror is the abundant genre on all of these boutiques. There are tons out there. I think that I think that horror showed everybody that it would sell, and that led to some of these other titles being able to get good boutique releases. So we've seen an uptick in other releases, but I don't think horror has really gone down that much. I think we're still getting quite a lot of horror releases. Let's see. Got to scope out Dollar Tree. They get RLJ discs all the time. Are they Blu-ray, Maddie, or are they just DVD? Interesting. I had no idea. I don't have all of the RLJE discs, and they've got some good stuff, I think. Justin says, can't wait for some more Friedkin releases like The Hunted and maybe Narc, underrated later Friedkin flicks. That would be nice. He's got a lot of good stuff and probably shouldn't say a very varied. He's got a varied discography that or filmography that is really like expansive on all kinds of genres and just great overall. Yeah, Narc, I was about to say that. Narc is not Friedkin as far as I was aware. Okay, let's get to our games real quick. So first that we do together, and if you've played this today or you're used to playing these games, hopefully you don't spoil it for everyone else. This first one for today, this is our Framed. Let me bring this up. Nope, not like that. I got to be able to see everything. Come on. That's just me. What are we doing? There we go. Okay, so this is Framed. What we are doing is trying to figure out what film this still is from. And if we search and we get it wrong, we get another scene to pull from. And then we got a couple more games after this. The first time I saw this, I wanted to say something very new. Sardis says Cloverfield. I have no idea. Is it? Cloverfield. That's not even an option. I didn't know you could scroll there. Huh. Yeah, it looks like that is not a... Midnight Special, says Jeff. Let me see. Yep, that's an option. Nope. Oh, wow. Wait, is this... I feel like this is a Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Is this the part in the very beginning when he comes out of the hospital? Elysium. I've not seen that one. It very well could be. Oh, no. Yep, it's Guardians. It's the first one, right? No, it's this. Oh, I did get it. Okay. I was going to say, okay, well, that was the fourth. There's the fifth. Okay, those were very obvious. Jeez. All right. Oh, dang. Everybody's saying Guardians now. All right, next we're going to do Movie Doll, I think is how you pronounce it. Let me zoom in so that you guys have a good view of this. Now, this is a 1 second clip of fast forwarding the entire movie. So you have to be ready for it, and you have to try to catch a couple frames and really process it so that you know what to guess. We're all watching it live together. Let's figure it out. I saw nothing. Jesus, that was so fast. Any guesses for that one? I feel like I recognize the actress there, but I only had one frame that caught me, and it wasn't one that I recognized at all. Couch says Thelma and Louise. That could be. Was that Gina Davis? Oh, no, that's not even an option. Always rough when it's not an option. Let's see. Goodfellas, Devil Wears Prada. Wow. Let's try Goodfellas. Oh, look at that. Man, how did you get that? I didn't see anything from Goodfellas in there. All right, this is the last one now. This last one is possibly the most difficult of these three. And I wish I could show everything on one screen, but it gets damn near impossible. So what this is actoral. And what we have is a list of the movies they've been in that are blacked out for the titles there. But then we have the genres and the IMDb scores. And what we're trying to do is figure out the actor. When we put in a guess, it will give us feedback based on their age. And then if that actor was also in another movie that was in If they were also in that movie, then that movie will be highlighted, but it will not be that person. So let's take a look at these. These are starting earlier than the last couple we've done. This is all the way back in 81. And the newest one is 2016. 2016 horror thriller with 5 letters in the name. Or 5 digits. We don't necessarily know their letters. If there's any title that you're thinking that it could be, just throw it out there. Eric says, look at 1988 and 90 films. Which means Eric might have played this earlier today. Lissa says, James Caan. 2016, was it? I'll throw it out there. If that sounds right. Oops, why did I spell that the wrong way? Oh, okay. So the red on his name, I believe, means that he is more than 10 years off of the age of the individual in this. So we've got from 1988 and 1990. Oh, look, the title for this we should be able to figure out. 3 digits, space, 4 digits, space, and then a single digit. We should be able to figure that out. It's probably a sequel, and it's probably a sequel to what came out in 1988. What came out in 90? And it's probably The Something, obviously. That is the most obvious answer here. Oh, Die Hard. That makes sense. Bruce Willis, 2016. I could see that. Is that Split? Is that Split? Horror thriller? That makes sense to me. Let's say Bruce Willis. Nice. Die Hard. That's what got it, Maddie. Nice. 88 and 90. All right, so what all are they highlighting for Bruce? Because he has been in like 400 movies during those years. So we've got Prince of the City, The Verdict, Die Hard, Die Hard 2, The Player. The Player? That's really one that they're throwing out there. Pulp Fiction, that makes sense. 12 Monkeys, another Die Hard, Fifth Element, The Sixth Sense. That, I mean, drama, mystery, thriller. Not horror on that one too? Man. And then Planet Terror, they chose some interesting ones to highlight here. Looper, yeah, that makes sense. Moonrise Kingdom was 2012 as well. I feel like that was later. Either way, we got them all, and we got them all pretty quickly tonight. Any questions about Vinegar Syndrome? Anything I can prepare you for the month in any way? Any videos you want to be seeing for Vinegar Syndrome month? Oh, Eric, that makes sense. They are only including films with a 7.0 or higher on IMDb. That makes a lot more sense that way. Yeah, he didn't he just do like 15 films last year and then retired immediately because of his sickness that he's got now. That's a lot. He has done so many crappy movies. And there's some that he did that I used to love that I watch now and I just cringe. Like I used to love 16 Blocks, and watching that movie now, man, it is bad. Mob Cult says partner label title suggestions. First, I will ask: do you have a favorite partner label now, or one that intrigues you? That will be a lot easier. If I remember right, I think there are 21 partner labels now, so it's a lot to break down all of those into one, unfortunately. So it would be nice to narrow it down a little bit. Maybe there's a couple that you're interested in. I will say, by all means, go watch the interview I did last week with Ross from Saturn's Core. And like I said, I have another interview coming out tomorrow with another partner label. And I'm working on 1 or 2 more for this month. I have been loving the partner label releases, and I highly suggest many of them. Altered Innocence is great with most of their stuff. Yellow Veil has been great with most of their stuff. Fun City is pretty much amazing on all of them. Circle Collective has been pretty good. Gunpowder and Sky has been pretty good. Didn't Vampire announce a release date? Yes, from Eureka, but I think that was a few weeks ago. Let me see what date that is coming out on. Wait, is it Eureka or is it somebody else? Here, Eureka. Yes, it is Eureka, and that is coming out on May 30th. That is by the end of this month. You know, the subculture thing, John, it is so frustrating. For those that don't know, Subculture is a Vinegar Syndrome partner label that came and put out one title. When was that even released? Do you know offhand, John? Because it feels like, has it been a little over a full year, right? But I don't know how. Let me pull up the date on my phone. Subculture. So Deadlock came out on July of 2021. July 27th, 2021. So we are at almost a full year, and they've only done one release in that entire time. And to be honest, it's good. Deadlock in 4K looked amazing. I don't love spaghetti westerns, and it's not truly a spaghetti western because it's a German film, but it is really well done. I strongly suggest if you find a copy of that to watch it. Mob Colt says, really want to get all the TerrorVision titles since I met the dudes who run it while on vacation. Nice. For those that don't know, TerrorVision has their headquarters is, or not their headquarters. The owner of TerrorVision has a record store that just opened in Georgia. If you can, go visit. It is supposed to be amazing. They have all kinds of stuff there. TerrorVision that I recommend. Obviously, the WNUF Halloween special. Norway. It's not for everybody, but if you are into it, or try to find a trailer, and if you're into it, I would say check that one out. It is it's a unique title. I will say that. Maddie says Deadlock is a Spatza Western. Oh man, that's probably the best and least problematic way that could have been said. I love it. The Liberty said there's more coming from Subculture. I assume June. That would be the perfect month since it's partner label month. Either that, or if it's in July, I'm just going to count on them doing a release every year like clockwork. And honestly, what is it? Pulse Video kind of did the same thing. They released one title, and then it wasn't until the Valentine's sale this year that they came out and then dropped two all of a sudden. So they're up to 3 times the output of Subculture. Yeah, and a lot of people didn't like Norway. It's super stylish and odd and unique. But TerrorVision, I mean, they've put out a handful of things like Killing Spree. Killing Spree is not going to be everybody's cup of tea either. A lot of people think it's shot on video, but it's not. It was just 16 millimeter, and it looks it for sure. Yeah, I've not gotten a chance to watch the new Love and Saucers yet, but that's it. They've also only released 4 titles so far, so it's really easy to get caught up with them if that's what you're wanting to do. I have really liked Yellow Veil so far. Pretty much everything they've put out. Utopia also very good. I would highly recommend things like Shiva Baby, the Bloody Nose Empty Pockets. Well, I think that was strictly limited, so that one's probably not for sale anymore. But yeah, everything they've put out has been good, and I don't think we've gotten anything from them in a little bit either. There's just so many good partner labels. It's really hard to just dive in, and that's why I'm trying to get some of these interviews out there, because it is so, at least for me, I don't know if you guys agree, but for me, learning about the people behind the label and seeing if I align with them, it really gives me a feeling about their sensibilities for how they acquire titles. So that's why, all this year I've been trying to get people from these labels on the show to be able to share, how they feel about movies, what they look for their releases, what they are, hoping to accomplish by putting out those films. Really get a mission from them, basically. But then there's other things like Canadian International Pictures. They're just putting out important Canadian films, and Deaf Crocodile is killing it with the things that they're putting out there. This random Russian fantasy film looks freaking incredible. I cannot wait to get that one in. I mean, there's others that I haven't even touched yet. There's the catalog. There's Canny. There's Factory 25. There's so many Doppelganger or Music Box Films, whatever they're called. So many partner labels. There's Pulse, like I brought up. Trying to see. Oh, Agfa, obviously, like pretty much anything from Agfa is great. And I don't know if you guys are listening to their interviews with other podcasts and other channels across the internet, but there are things being said like Agfa. I think Agfa said that next year they have, I think it was next year. They have, maybe that was this year. I think Agfa said they have 15 releases lined up for this year and 17 for next year, which, I mean, that's so much. If you are trying to keep up with all the partner label releases already, it's going to be hard. And what some of these other, when I've done interviews, a lot of times after I press stop and we're not recording anymore, they usually don't tell me titles, but they generally talk about things that they don't want out in public. And don't think I'm saying this about any one specific company, but they're revealing like, yeah, we have a title coming out every month for the rest of the year. Or I've got titles. I've got so many titles that I'm booked out for the foreseeable future, basically. And that is wild to me. There's so much that they are able to do. They're partnering with a group that is able to bring them to the world in a way that's getting them exposure that they literally never would have gotten. And the big thing, it's giving cinema to people like you and people like me. And I'm excited about that. Sardis is excited about that new label. I am as well. If anybody finds a way to get that release to the US, please come back to this and comment and let me know where you got it. I'm going to be checking out ways to find it. And if I find it, I will try to let everybody know about it. I'm also going to try to speak to Mark, unless any of you have a contact with Mark. I'm going to see if he can get it through his distributor. I'm probably also going to reach out to Mike from Grindhouse. It's an interesting time. There's so many labels out there. And speaking of that, if you haven't watched it, there are also a lot of labels that have been doing this for years that have not gotten the attention they deserve yet. And a lot of these new labels are selling thousands of copies of things, while other labels are just silently releasing things. And people, I try to talk about them as much as I can on these shows, but they just don't sell as much because they, for some reason, are not the sexy new thing right now. So what I would suggest, get caught up on my videos for boutique labels I collect, and so should you. I think I've put out 7 of them so far, and each of them has like 10 or 11 labels, which is a lot, believe me. But there's always another label for you to look at and able to share a different worldview or a different genre, or something like LA AIDS Jabber. There's just so much out there. There's so much cinema to consume and so little time, and I love it. Sardis, yes, I will try to email you if I find a way to get it. I don't know what's going on. I mean, they're promoting Amazon and it's not available. I might just reach out to them too. We'll see. Other than that, any more Vinegar Syndrome questions or video ideas or anything else before we call it a night? It's been a good hour-and-a-half show. I mean, we covered everything and then some. And you guys have been here for the entire time, and I thank you. Appreciate you. This is one of my favorite parts of the week. Literally every week, spending time with you guys. I appreciate you. I genuinely appreciate everything that we've done over the last year. I certainly appreciate my patrons. Thank you guys for everything that you are continuing to contribute to the Discord that I live in every day when we're not streaming. You guys, keep me going while I'm at work and help me not be super bored throughout the day. So thank you for that. I think that's all I've got. If nobody else has anything, all I will say is let's have a good week. And till next time, from one collector to all of you, let's have a good night, huh? Again, thanks to the patrons. See you next time. Later, everybody.